And we are recording, and Laura, another late night session of Serial Killer Whisper.
Always. I had you and Rob Dick both texting me. They're like, both of you were like, I need your help with this. And
that's funny.
It's so funny.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got to talk to him. So I guess I've been trying to contact him. So for today, I mean, we're going to continue our journey with Michael Gargiulo, because the more and more I hear these recordings, the more fascinated and disturbed I get.
Right.
And the amount of stuff that you're able to get out of this guy. So what are we going to be listening to today? You sent me 3 recordings today that we're going to go over. So kind of this, let's talk about all 3 real in the beginning, and then we can jump into it, and then we can stop like we normally do.
Mm-hmm. So for one, he's kind of talking about Ashton Kutcher, blaming, the murder on him. And he kind of goes into, how he was set up and framed. And then tape 2 is actually his closing statement in court that he gave. Tape 1 is going to set up for number 2. And number 3 is when I talked about it last week, when he got a little cultish, very religious. So I'm going to give you guys a little piece of what that was like. I put a kind of medley together for you.
Yeah.
Gargiulo cornucopia, really.
Yeah. And then the second one, you said it was his statement in court. So is that the actual statement he recorded, or is that?
No, the real statement. Yeah.
The real statement. Okay. So that was like what year was that? That
was that one was his trial. Arrest was 2008. So I think it was 2013.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
So
sorry. This one was when he got sentenced to death. I think it was 2019. No, 20 or 21. I'm sorry.
Okay, so not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, let's listen to this first one. I haven't heard this yet. So
you haven't?
No, I haven't listened to it yet, so it's going to be my first time. That's why I was asking you questions about it. Haven't had time to listen to it. All right, so here we go. Number 1.
They're taking me back. I'm trying. They're taking me back to Illinois for a murder trial there. For sure. I start legal proceedings out here to prevent it, but I'm going to lose because extradition is all they got to do is make sure that I'm the name on the extradition order and that I was in Illinois at the time. I was living in Illinois when the murder occurred, and that's all they need to prove, and then the extradition is granted. My attorneys are gonna be fighting it, and they're gonna appeal it. So they said hopefully 6 to 9 months, and then but they're preparing for the worst.
Wait, Rick. Right there.
Okay. If they do the extradition, right? So the court hearing's in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks. The attorneys are going to try to get it for 6 to 9 months, so you can stay at the same point, which would be great. At least it gives us.
Well, no. What they're gonna do is file an appeal, because they get to file an appeal on extradition. So the appeal, who knows how fast the appellate courts are? Hopefully they're backed up. So it gives me time to make some quick money right away. So see, out there, I'm gonna have to have protection, or otherwise the blacks are gonna try to kill me. I'm gonna be the only one. I'm gonna be the only white person in that jail.
Well,
all right. So what is he talking about? Protection.
Well, I don't know if you caught that when I said stop it.
Oh, you want me to stop it there? I didn't hear it. What do you want me to...
When I said stop it, I was like, there's a part where I go, okay, Rip, because I always referred to him as Rip with the other death row inmates. Like that was his name in the prison, Rip. So
as a Hollywood Ripper.
Exactly, a short for Ripper. So I said, listen. I said something like, listen, Rip, and then I caught myself, and I was cooking, and you hear me bang on the plate 3 times.
Yeah.
Try to disguise it because I accidentally slipped and said rip. What he's talking about is going to Cook County, and he's saying, I'm going to be the only white guy there, and I'm famous, so I'm going to be killed. That's what he's talking about.
Okay. Wow. And then he says, I got to earn money.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, he says why in the next part. I don't want
Okay. Okay. All right.
Fame. There ain't going to be famous people like me coming back there. So with the media attention and all, they're going to be like, oh no, I need to be able to pay the police off there at the jail, and then for protection, I'm going to have to. It's only a smart thing to do.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
But also,
In an all-black prison. But you got to work on your program. Focus on that, and let's work on getting me a pro bono attorney and get my restitution paid. That's small stuff. To do once we do that, we can meet and figure out the best strategy of doing a docuseries that would raise a lot of hell, the courts and everything, and just be like, wait a second.
All right. So what is he saying? Is he giving you direction?
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because it sounds like, I mean,
Well, what's kind of funny is you really do get to see how grooming happens with, the tapes with Gargiulo. So he's saying like, listen, he's kind of putting me on a reward system, saying like, listen, I'll give you the discovery and you can do whatever you want with it. If I get a pro bono attorney and my restitution is paid. Remember how I told you he's already had about $15,000 paid off from getting girls to pay for it?
Yeah.
He's trying to do the same thing with me.
So he's trying to get you to pay.
He's dangling his discovery as a carrot.
Yeah. Did you ask for his discovery?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he hasn't.
Yeah. And he knows that's what I'm after. So now he's trying to, groom me to kind of go for it and saying like, I'll give it to you, but here's what you got to do.
Well, he'll sell it to you.
Pretty much.
Basically.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And then have you seen his discovery yet?
No.
Oh, okay. So unlike all the inmates or incarcerated death row inmates, you were able to get a lot of their discovery.
I did get Gargiulo to agree to sign over a POA, power of attorney, which would automatically give me the discovery anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think he knew that at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, how did you get him to do that?
I kind of like, you'll see the progression when I play these.
But he willingly did it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I don't think he didn't really understand. You can tell when we go through more of the tapes, he really doesn't understand the law at all.
He sounds like he's convinced he does. He's talking about pro bono and how he's like that, and he does it. He would never admit he doesn't know.
Yeah, but I mean, like a 10-year-old knows what pro bono means,
Exactly. All right, so he's trying to get you to pay off his restitution.
And he has 5 other girls paying it off right now.
That's great. So he has 5 other girls.
Yeah.
Do you know who these women are?
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah. Have you spoken to them?
Yeah.
And what are they like? And what, are they regularly normal people, or they just have
one's married with children. One's a nurse. Pretty normal, but I mean, I don't know.
Oh, before we get going, before I forget, this week on Deadly Roots, Cindy Bertrand Flores looked into women killers as far as the chain. It was pretty fascinating. You should listen to it. And but one of the things, the common thread, obviously these women killers, majority of them were women who killed children. Some mothers who killed. There was one woman who killed 9 of her children. I forget what her name was. Last name was Tinning, Mary Beth Tinning. And it was I think in the 60s. She literally just got out of prison. She's 82.
Really?
Yeah, and she killed 9 of her children. And then the other group of women, lots of them were nurses.
Yeah, I've known about nurses. Yeah.
Like a lot of them, like going back into the 1800s.
Oh yeah, they go way back.
Yeah.
Actually, female serial killers are pretty prolific. Some of their cases their victimology goes up in the hundreds. Actually,
Mhm.
'cause, most people don't think women are killers or could be a serial killer, but that's untrue.
Yeah, but what is that? What is that whole thing? The infanticide of why are they mothers and why are they nurses?
Well,
Why are they killing their own kids? Like the Susan Smiths and this Mary Beth Tinning and Casey Anthony, and then what is that like? What is that? This is like psychological disorder.
that speaks of narcissism. That can speak to a couple different disorders. I mean, that could be psychopathy. That can also be mental illness. But a lot of women do kill just because they have a child and then they don't want the child. Somehow the child is a barrier between what they want. Look at Casey Anthony.
Yep.
I want to go out. I want to party. I want to have a life. The
Yeah.
child is now interfering with that. So now you have somebody, whether it be antisocial personality traits, narcissistic traits, and the child is actually an obstacle for them. So they eliminate the obstacle. As far as nurses, it's not just nurses. It can be doctors too, like angels of mercy, they call them.
Mm-hmm.
So people with sadistic personality disorder, they'll go into either medical work or police work.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, sadists are after that power, that control, and they'd like to see people in pain. Whether you're a police officer, correctional officer, nurse, doctor, you're seeing people in pain at their lowest, their weakest, and you have power over them. That is why you'll see sadistic personality disorders going into police work and hospital work.
Wow. I mean, I was like shocked to me because it was just like the list I had. It was crazy. It was like there was either they were mother killing their kids or they were nurses.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. All right, let's get back to Gargiulo here. Now that I got my question answered.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me that she found that I'm related to Gargiulo, and I was about to be like, oh my God, don't.
Oh, no, there was one that you are related to, though. One of these.
One?
Yeah, I forget. She told me. I forgot.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Well, you have to listen to it to find out. But yeah, you're related to one of them.
Oh, God.
I forget which one.
This guy, everything was tunnel vision on him because of Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, hey, Laura, I could prove it. Either Ashton Kutcher or the landlord murdered that girl in Hollywood, and I'm paying for it. And that's what made my case open. And once you get in deep with me being an investigator, you're going to be like, what the fuck, Michael? Mm-hmm. You got shafted. And if I were to break down why I was here and the cell operation they did and all that other stuff in a docuseries, the public didn't get to see this stuff. The judge couldn't have let it in the courtroom. Yeah. So no one knows about it. A lot of the hearings that were closed, no one knows because they're sealed record. I want to find a way to unseal the record. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hitbull. There was this attorney, I forgot his name, and he's out of Redondo.
No way.
And listen, he's the best, but he wouldn't take my case because he said it's too big. But he gets everybody out. He got the Aryan brother out, and we referred him to him. And he's a pit bull because he's a pit bull. He told that Aryan brother guy that committed suicide, that famous Ultimate Fighter, that was my neighbor. The guy that Psycho. Damn, I forgot his name. He was a famous Ultimate Fighter. That was my neighbor, his Aryan brother. Yeah. And he's out of Redondo.
Dude, I know everybody. I'm so hooked up in Redondo. What's his name? I wonder if I can contact him or know him.
No, the attorney is awesome, and if I had him and I was able to get him on my team, I would have went home. Because he's a pit bull. I don't think he's an appellate attorney, though. We need an appellate attorney.
Oh.
We need someone that knows how to do appeals. Because appeals are different. We're talking top shot attorneys. They got to be good. They got to be vicious, and believe me, I laced the record on the McCoy versus Louisiana that my fundamental choice of my defense was blocked by forcing me into a mental defense, and by them allowing all uncharged acts in the guilt phase, hearsay, which assassinated my character. So I put all that on the record.
Yeah.
And it's all.
What is he talking about?
It's great.
I have no idea.
I'm sure his attorneys thought the same thing too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, is that? I mean, I guess the great term for that has been coined lately is just a word salad.
Yeah.
You know, it really is, because I'm like, he's babbling all this stuff. He's not making any sense.
No. And do you remember last week he threw out the attorney in Glenview? And I was like, what's the name? What's the name? And he was like, I was like, how do you spell it? Text it to me.
Yeah, he gave you the first name.
Yeah. Same thing.
Mr. Joe Schminjba, you know?
I was like, oh, wait, I live in Redondo. I know everybody in Redondo. Tell me the name. I'll find him.
And then he goes dark.
Yeah, goes word salad.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're halfway through this. Hold on.
So I did my part because I was pro per, and you being an investigator, I'll help you. I'll lead you to lead on how people got scared and how our houses got overturned and why the evidence didn't, why I couldn't get no one testifying for me. They were scared.
Yeah.
And you know, and when you look at especially the Hollywood case, when it gets there, which and the Santa Monica and the Almani, you're going to be like, wait a second, this guy confessed to murdering his wife, and it wasn't allowed in your trial. What the hell, Michael?
Yeah.
They just got you on a little booty outside that had a little blood of the victim and touched DNA of yours and an unknown male that my forensic expert said it was the unknown male's DNA on that booty, which were my booties that I always had for my business. And I lived in the building, so she's saying in the report that's in my file that it was the unknown male of another suspect, and most likely he's the murderer. And she was never called in to testify in my trial. That the seriology department ignored that.
I have my own forensics girl too, who could look over stuff too. We got to get the files.
We'll be able to get everything once I have an attorney. I'll give Cap authorization to turn over my whole file, and once I have an attorney, they're going to have my whole discovery and my transcripts right away.
Yeah.
That's what Cap does. They're preserving it, and my transcripts are they're up to be. It took 2 years already to go to the to be certified. They let me speak on the record about structural error because I needed to teach them about it. So I'm equipped with the law. I'm not an idiot. I do my studies.
Right.
And
So he's going to teach everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
He knows the law.
He knows a lot. And what he's saying that Cap doesn't cover anything he's talking about.
What does it say that again? Cap,
the California appellate.
Oh, California appellate. Yeah. Okay.
And so what he's saying they do is actually nothing they do, which is even the funniest part about.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, but he's pretty. You know, I mean, he's pretty.
He's emphatic. He's committed.
He's committed. Well, he's never going to admit to it.
Right.
Could he be a David Carpenter in the making?
94 on death row.
But still talking to his lawyer, thinking that he's got a shot.
Yeah, actually, that could be Gargiulo.
Wow.
Oh my God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because he kind of sounds like him the way he's talking.
Too is like Carpenter attacked Lisa Rinna's mother.
Yeah.
Another celebrity like connection between the two. Mm-hmm.
And then what was his theory about how, and I think we touched on this a little bit. I don't know if we talked deeply into it, how he believes in, like, what's his theory about Ashton Kutcher killing the woman?
I mean, it changes almost every call. One call, well, he just said in this call that it could be Ashton Kutcher or the landlord that actually was also seeing.
Yeah.
But then the other calls, Ashton Kutcher is the serial killer.
Okay. So he gives more details.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see what he has to say.
I even educated the judge in front of the media, and he got pissed off at me. I had to read on the record actually that what fundamental choice to your defense is, and I even argued what is the difference of McCoy who got a new trial under the precedent case law and the instant defendant in this case is fundamental choice. I said there is no difference. I have a fundamental choice in my defense, and it was blocked, Your Honor. This case must be dismissed. And I said, the defendant rests. And this is how I speak on the record. And he said, motion denied. I still made motion, and I still made approval here. It's just for the record for the higher court. So, you know,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I want to encourage you however you can to finish your project and get it done, because mine's going to be a big project. It's going to be a big project, and there's going to be a lot of money involved.
I'm almost done with them, so I can hop on to another case like right away.
Oh, that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah, for that one. So he wants you to make a television documentary about his case. Is that what he's asking for?
Podcast.
Podcast.
I think a million things. But what's funny is he throws out Louisiana versus McCoy, right? And I was like, there's no way this guy knows what that is. So I actually talked to Marlo, who we've had on the podcast.
Yep.
And I go, was that case mentioned on the yard today? And he goes, yeah, how did you know? And I was like, I just got off the phone with Gargiulo. And I was like, who is talking about it? He was like, a group of us. We're talking about like how we can do, you know, because Louisiana versus McCoy. Okay, so this guy in Louisiana, he was a family annihilator, essentially.
A family annihilator.
This is where you kill your entire family.
I know, annihilator is such a powerful word.
But your whole family. So this guy kills his family, and his attorney says to him, to save your life, you know, we're going to kind of like, there was some plea deal that where he was going to say like, okay, you did it. And he was like, no. He's like, pretty much McCoy was like, I want to deny until I die, like Gargiulo.
Yep.
And the attorney didn't listen and went through with what he thought was best for his client. And because he did this, it turned into Louisiana versus McCoy, which is now he came back and said, you know, you went against my wishes, because an attorney is supposed to be almost like a secretary for the defendant. Like they have to make all the choices. So it turned to this big thing. So that's what the guys on death row always quote is like, if their attorneys go against them, they bring that, they shoot that right back up. Because of this case, now what can happen is somebody can get an acquittal or a retrial.
Did McCoy get an acquittal?
I forget what happened with that case. I think it was a retrial, or something.
I can't imagine they just acquitted him for if he annihilated his entire family.
Yeah, I think it was some type of like something happened. But I can tell you with my best friend in my cousin's case, something similar happened where it was kind of like a technicality. So after the trial, for some reason, the judge on his case said to the jury, you can either do acquittal or first degree. And they didn't give the option of second or third degree. And his defense was diminished capacity, which was all bullshit. But because the judge took that off the table, and I remember I was at court and the defense attorney pulled us all into a room and I kept asking questions going, why was secondary and third degree pulled off? And he kept saying, he was like, no, it's good for us because it's going to give us an automatic retrial. And I was like, we have to live through another trial. Do you know how traumatic this was for like all of us? And we have to live through this again. He was like, I know, but he was like, the judge has taken this off the table. Automatically, my cousin got a retrial and 30 years were taken off of his sentence because of this.
Wow. So what is he doing now? How many years?
He's actually going to be out like in his mid-50s. Yeah.
How old is he now? Is he the same age as you?
A year older.
Year older. Okay. So he still has some time. He's at least 20 years in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, because of, technicalities like this. So Gargiulo is throwing out a case.
Yep.
Saying
He's mimicking.
he's mimicking what he heard on San Quentin's death row yard to me now to try to sound smarter.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no way this guy knows what this is. And that's why I went to Wolfie, who's, and who was also his neighbor on Norseg. He's like, yeah, we're all talking about that. I was like, okay. So then that's why I brought the second tape that we're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's no way he quoted McCoy in his closing statement. And you'll hear.
Okay, this is his closing statement.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. Since
what he's talking about, how he told the judge
so he's telling you what he said in his closing statement. So it's not his official closing statement.
No, what you just heard is him talking about the tape that you're about to hear.
Got it.
Where he said he schooled the judge, so you can.
Got it. So this will be the actual. This will be the actual one.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
I have to testify, Your Honor, but my attorney will not help me. My attorney, Dale Rubin, even offered the court if I could give a statement to the court. He said, no, I'm not allowed to. Without questions, I would not be allowed to testify. Therefore, the district attorney would be able to object. I would like, because I'm going to death row wrongfully and unjustly, and that there's an injustice here, for that transcript to be found as you assured me. I gave the dates and read into the record, because if it's not on the record that I did want to testify and my fundamental choice was blocked, the higher courts will not honor that. The transcripts are part of the record, sir. And second issue, I claimed ineffective assistance as a counsel. There was as a pro per, I hired a few experts. I hired a DNA expert to specifically go over and view everything. She came back with a full detailed report of all the cases. She also came back with a report showing that seriology department of the sheriff ignored a third-party male DNA and said that may have been the suspect, and that the booty, therefore, because it was degraded, was left out there before the crime. I do have these reports. I'm not able to make them a part of the record because I've been asking defense counsel to be able to, allow me to put this on the record, because this would have given me another outcome, Your Honor. This would have showed that there was another male, and that booty, which the district attorney focused on as being used in the crime, the forensic expert states differently in her reports. This was not used in trial because defense counsel did not want to hire a forensic expert as I requested. I requested to have a criminalist to go over the blood drops on the left side of the booty. There are many theories of how that could happen, and I'm not allowed to give a theory because I'm not an expert.
Was he talking about booty? What does that mean?
Do you remember the blue booty that was found outside of Maria?
Oh, an actual boot.
Mm-hmm. Those surgical ones, or the ones painter used to put over their shoes. Do you work like the?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
That was found outside in the courtyard of his and Maria Bruno's apartment, and that's where his DNA was on. Now he's saying there was an unknown male DNA found on this blue booty. And what he's trying to say is that he has the proof, but his defense attorneys won't allow it in court. His own defense team will not show it in court. And I can tell you, I've watched the video if you want to Google it. When he is giving this statement, his own defense team is going like this, like head down and like smirking to each other, like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm done with this case, this dude. Especially when he's like, they won't bring it to court. Just like the letter with Trisha.
Yeah.
There's always a document that can't be shown, or there's some type of forensic evidence that he has, but he can't produce it.
Yeah. But they have to let him talk.
They have to, unfortunately. Look, if you watch his defense attorneys, I feel bad. And I actually watched the opening statements, and I actually thought his defense team did a really good job. Considering what they had up against them, I thought they were pretty good, considering.
Have you spoken to his defense attorneys at all?
No. Should we talk to them?
Yeah, I think that would be great. It'd be fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have their names, right?
I do. And the investigators in LA too.
Yeah, yeah. Because I thought they did a great job. I'd love to have them on.
Oh, they did such a great job. Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the clown show.
There was another issue where the district attorney focused on, because he had no other evidence to present, they could not place my whereabouts. I made it clear to you that defense counsel was investigating a lead that proved for me to be somewhere else, and then stopped that lead because all they did was focus on a mental defense that I was against. I fought viciously against my defense team on 1/12/2016 that I do not want a mental defense, that I'm innocent, that I've been framed. Tunnel vision detectives, as I made it clear to you in a private hearing last week, I am innocent. I can prove my whereabouts, and I was denied my right to testify, so I could not have a voice to assert my innocence. I was not allowed to do that. I did not have that fundamental choice. I was hushed up and prevented from being able to tell the jury to maintain my innocence by allowing.
He's very upset that they didn't put him on the stand. His defensive team.
Yeah, it didn't even pause. I don't know what's going on. There's like a gap in the audio. So say what you're saying. I'm sorry.
He's very upset that his defense team did not let him testify. And if I was a defense attorney, yeah, I would not put him on the stand ever.
No, you're never supposed to testify against yourself.
No, of course, but especially
someone who can't be quiet.
Clearly.
Mm-hmm. Clearly. All right. What happened here? It's like.
Did it pause?
It didn't pause.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
My maintaining my innocence. Without me being able to testify and maintain innocence and tell the jury I am innocent about my whereabouts and why I'm innocent.
What happened? Still going.
It is?
Yeah.
There might be some pauses when I was uploading.
What happened?
It does abruptly stop, though.
Yeah, but there's like another 3 minutes.
Oh, you know what? That was from the previous tape because that was 8 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that one's over then.
That one's over. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, it's fascinating. I'm gonna have to Google that and see it in person. I've seen the photographs of him standing up and talking and stuff like that.
But you can see he never mentioned McCoy. He got that from the death row yard. So it's like he'll hear something and pick it up, and then he throws it like he's an expert into a conversation. Mm-hmm.
Well, why didn't he mention it then?
He learned about it that day. He told me on the phone on death row.
Oh, so he wasn't prepared to really throw that card out.
No.
But after the fact, he's like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So when he gets his next, goes to the appellate level.
He's smart in the aspect of like, if I were to throw out, like, if I was sitting with just some friends of mine and go, oh yeah, you know, Louisiana versus McCoy. And then they were like, yeah, sure. Like, even though they have no idea what I'm talking about, that's his tactic. You know, it's like, oh, you know, because you should know, as if like you should be smart enough to know. He throws it out like that. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the narcissist, right?
Mm-hmm. It's even more so manipulation.
It's like, yeah, but he
power play.
Exactly, but who is he power playing? Because everybody knows. It's so funny how it's like that's the narcissist in him. He actually believes what he's saying when everyone he can't even read the room. No.
And you're gonna see with the tapes too is he definitely profiled me completely off. So when he was trying to groom me, he didn't know what my true motive was, and he gets it so off and so wrong. And it's funny now to like go back and listen to like how off he was. See, he thought I was after like doing a docu-series or writing a book about him, like for
Yeah.
or he always says money, fame, and I'm like, dude, I'm only taking you on because they're telling me you have 9 more victims. I don't work for the dollar. I'm working for the victims.
Did you tell him that?
No.
Okay, that was the. So
Yeah.
you kind of played along with him
Oh,
to
yeah.
kind of thinking that you were just not one of the many women that he talked to.
No. I wasn't. I didn't play that card. The card I played was, I'm a PI. I'm a criminologist. I can help you. Give me that discovery. That was my card.
Mm-hmm.
I thought if I could get that, then maybe I could track his whereabouts and find the 7 en route and the 2 before Trish and help Trish's family get some justice because I knew he was being extradited back to Illinois.
Yeah, but at no time you ever thought that he wasn't a killer.
Never. I like when he goes, I'm innocent, like I'll play into it, but like, yeah, give me that discovery so I can prove that for you.
Got it.
But I'm looking for the victims the whole time.
Yeah.
I've known the whole time. Like he didn't know I knew, but like the death row inmates are telling me like, oh, here's what he's saying here. He didn't understand like I was getting all the intel.
Mm-hmm. So the other guys were telling you that what he was bragging about inside the.
Oh yeah, he had no idea. They're the ones who remember when I told you I had so many on my plate. Look at Ing. Do you know how like Ing alone is like 3 full-time jobs? Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's just one. And then I had 16 other serial killers on my plate. So when they came to me, they're like, you got to do Gargiulo. I was like, guys, I can't. I literally, I'm not sleeping 7 days a week, like 20 hours. I can't. And they're like, he's got 7 en route, 2 before Trish, and Trish's family needs help. Like he's getting extradited. Newsom has signed it. He's going back.
Yep.
And that was when I was like, oh shit, now I got to take him on. Cause it was just like,
yeah.
How can you walk away from that knowing like he has all these other girls?
And they're fairly recent in comparison to a lot of the ones you've been dealing with.
Right.
Yeah, within like 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is.
So yeah, obviously I had to take him on, and yeah, this is the result. Really.
Yeah. Okay. So it's this last tape.
Okay, so this one, they had warned me that he is a spiritual sadist.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I've never heard of that. What do you mean?
Yeah, let's unpack that. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
What's a spiritual sadist?
I guess Gargiulo.
Oh, it's his own tag? Who gave him that tag?
The death row inmates.
Oh, they gave it to him. Mm-hmm. The experts.
The expert, exactly.
What did they tell you when he means like? What does that mean, spiritual sadist?
You'll hear it, but well, actually, you know what they nicknamed him? His nickname in San Quentin was
what?
Cracker Jack, because he was just like you never knew you were gonna find inside like a Cracker Jack box.
Oh, so even they were just kind of mystified by him.
Yeah, well, annoyed. Like they would just be. Because he would be telling everybody he was a millionaire in Beverly Hills doing this,
yeah,
which you're going to hear in this tape. And they were just like, guys in prison don't want to hear like guys bragging and just talking like that. Like they'll just literally stab you.
Yeah.
So
they don't want you breathing.
No. And look at how much he runs his mouth. Imagine.
Yeah. It seemed like he's a fairly big guy. Was he like tall?
He's he's tall, but he's very skinny and lanky.
Oh, okay.
He's actually very small, like in stature. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Let's see what he has to say here.
Do you know that there are 3 books that if you get them, you can live. You could, they deal with the reptilian and octillions and dimensional travel and all. These books that come from this, they're $1 million books. And they're the one's the Book of Life, the Tree of Life, and I forgot the third one, but the owner of the wine gallery, that where I met George Bush, when I was working on his real good friend's house in Beverly Hills, I had pictures with George Bush that were in my camera. I actually shook his hand. It was George Bush, 2008. He in the family room to ask him a question, and George Bush with all the Secret Service was there. And they're like, could he come in? And he goes, yeah. George's like, yeah, come shake my hand.
Wow.
So he said, why don't you could take a picture. You and Gus could take a picture with us. So I had a picture shaking his hand, and when I was at this house, I asked the maid.
So is that true? Does he have a picture of George Bush?
I don't know. I don't know
I,
any.
first of all, George Bush didn't have a house in Beverly Hills.
I was gonna say, first of all, yeah, that's the big thing too.
No, I mean, other than him being in the White, and which George Bush was it?
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's probably W, because it's his age. It's probably the second
Would
one.
he be hanging out in Beverly Hills though? Like,
No. Not he wouldn't have a house there.
he said his George Bush's friend's house. I don't know.
Oh, so his friend's house. Okay.
That's what he said. I don't know.
What was he doing there?
I don't know. But if he really did have a picture with a president,
It would have shown up.
right? I'm sorry,
Absolutely.
family.
I mean, he has enough pictures connected him with Ashton Kutcher.
Right. I'm sorry.
He's not,
Dad.
and there's no pictures of
I'm
them
sorry.
together. They slam them together.
Right. Right. It's I don't know. But then who was it? Gacy did meet no, it was a first lady. Gacy did meet a first lady, but there's pictures of it out there. There's no picture of Gargiulo with the president.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen it.
No.
Because we were doing a lot of work in the house, even before the president went there, President Bush went there. So we were in the house for like a week, remodeling, doing stuff. And I look at these lock boxes, and they're these thick books. And I asked her, she says, those books are what saved your life. She goes, do you know that guy in there and his wife? They look like they were 50 years old, and they were 90 years old. They were moving around like better than I move around.
Wow.
And it tells you of all the natural substances that detoxify your body, like that the Masons had, of cleansing all the demonic spirits throughout you through dimension, which is like Enoch in code. Like I said, Enoch's magic that gets knowledge, extended life.
Is he talking
by the 10 years?
Is he talking about adrenochrome?
No. This is dated way back. So this is when I actually called in my cult leader. Remember I told you last week I called in one of my cult leaders who knows about everything he's talking about?
Yeah.
But except my cult leader said the same thing about just like pretty much what I was just saying about McCoy. Is like he's throwing out names, but he has no idea what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost wondering if we should have him on so he can explain what he's talking about with the Enoch magic and everything.
Yeah.
Because he knew all about it.
Well, put him on the list. We want to get the investigators, get the defense attorneys.
We'll get my cult leader on for him to.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think because he's,
mm-hmm.
He
actually knew exactly what he was talking about, but he was like, he's throwing out concepts. He talks about Isaiah in the Bible. He knew exactly what he was talking about. So this is stemming from real literature somewhere, but he's just...
Yeah, he's got a thimble full of it, information, and he extrapolates it like he's...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wrote it. He wrote the Bible.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Thing. And there's herbs that you grind up that you drink, and different things that you use for each intestine or vital part of the body, which God created for humans. That's in the Book of Enoch. But the Book of Enoch was not complete. They're revising it now because they're finding out that certain things were incorrect. The only complete book on the tablets that they found that was correct and flawless was the book of Isaiah that talks about all humanity and creation from beginning to end.
I think that's it.
He's, he reminds me of.
Who?
Remember on Cheers?
Yeah.
Cliff Clavin, the mailman who would sit at the end of the bar and always come up with these. Always know anything.
Yes.
He knew he had an answer to everything. He was like talk about it, whether it was history, the Bible, or whatever. He always
Yeah, every subject.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that is him. That really is him. Yeah.
The resident know-it-all of nothing.
Yeah. And I remember one time, funny story, I was talking to him and I said, he was like, what got you into this or whatever? And I said, I love Nancy Drew. My dad used to read me Nancy Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, what's Nancy Drew? And I said back, I was like, you don't know what Nancy Drew is? And he flipped. Like I was calling him stupid or something. He's like, well, no, I know what Nancy Drew is. I just thought, and then it continued on for weeks that because I had called him out saying oh, you don't know who Nancy Drew is?
Well, how old is he? He's got to be in his 40s now?
47, 9 or something.
Yeah, I mean, Nancy Drew's been around forever.
Right, and I mean, it's been in pop culture since. I mean, Emma Roberts just played her and some other girls.
Yeah.
It's not like it's been out of date.
No.
That's why I was surprised when I was like, you don't know who Nancy Drew is? And I didn't mean anything by it, but he took it so personally when I said it. And the other one where he would flip like no other is saying the word weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the guys in San Quentin said he would flip when he's heard that word weirdo. It was like a trigger switch.
Would it have to be directed towards him or just hearing the word weirdo?
Both. Because I remember one time I said, oh, I'm just a weirdo. See, to me, it's playful.
Yeah, it's self-deprecating.
Yeah, self-deprecating, but it's not even that. I think that's actually a compliment to say you're weird. Yeah. If you're weird, you're cool. I don't look at it as something bad.
Mm-hmm.
But he heard it. I think I said I was like weirdo or whatever. And he was like, don't ever say that. Don't ever say that about yourself. So one of the teammates called him a weirdo and said he freaking lost it. Yeah. So there's some type of trauma linked to that word with him.
Really?
From childhood. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, I'm sure he was a weirdo growing up, and he's probably got called a weirdo quite a bit.
Actually, most of, when they were talking about the docs I've seen on him with interviews, they were saying he was there was something off. Definitely something off about him.
Do you think he has any sort of kind of Asperger's or something? Because when he's talking like that, it kind of sounds like that. A little bit of, combination of that and autism. I don't know if it's autism, but Asperger's or, usually people with ADHD too. Bad
ADHD. I wondered about ADHD just because of how hyper he gets.
Yeah.
And
impulsively talking.
Yeah. So I did wonder about ADHD. I did. Trying to see if I saw anything else emerge.
Because the Asperger's, he doesn't know how to read other people and doesn't read people and their emotions. And
I think no. See, that's why I'm not leaning towards Asperger's or autism. Is he can, he's street savvy, more than smart, and the way he's been able to con so many women, and even in prison, the women he's still conning. So that's why I'm
because he's a talker.
Yeah.
And he's a bullshitter, so he'll tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom used to tell me, she said, women fall in love with their ears, men fall in love with their eyes.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes women will hear nice words being spoke to them, and someone like him who's very manipulative could just pull the wool over their eyes.
Oh, totally. Totally. And I've heard him try to spit game to the girls. You're my sun, you're my moon, you're everything. Just kind of basic stuff. But he preys on women who aren't told that typically.
Well, I would imagine anyone who's reaching out to him has some issues.
Mhm.
They can't be. I mean, why would you?
Talk to him.
Well, not just talk, but just create. It's a relationship. It's an intimate relationship.
Right.
Knowing that this person's never getting out. I
Mhm.
remember interviewing one woman, and she goes, well, number one, he goes, I always know where he is, and he's never going to cheat on me.
I've heard that for women, that is the big thing. They think never going to cheat, and I know where he is. So it's almost a control factor.
Yeah,
That
they got a man in a cage.
Yeah, they have a
that they can
captive. That's a captive.
Yeah. I mean, because that was like when we did the Green River Killer with Gary Ridgway. I remember we had to go through one of his girlfriends to get access to talking to him.
I've had to do that so many times.
And the woman that we had to meet with was,
Mhm.
she was not. I mean, it was grotesque. And I remember we had to go pick her up from her apartment. And I remember Cindy, you know, this is all off camera because we were bringing her to this place where we were going to do like a conference call. And so we had it all set up, but we had to go physically pick her up. And she was just in, you know, and Cindy had me, Cindy was driving. We had another one of the producer who's like a big guy. He's like about 6'4", sit in the back seat. And then Cindy gave me like, she was so paranoid. She gave me like a butter knife from the hotel. She goes to sip on. I go, I'm not going to, whatever. You know, this woman was just, but yeah. And like, we couldn't get access to him until she said it was okay.
Yeah.
You know,
I've literally had one of the worst things I've ever had to deal with is I've had to go through that so many times. And the women look at me and they're like, what do you want with him? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm a criminologist.
Exactly. I'm studying this stuff.
I need to talk to him. Well, what do you want with him?
I know.
Answers. That's what I want.
I know. I mean, the guy that we got out of prison with the Georgetown students, Valentino Dixon, he was married to an Australian woman. And it was funny. It was two of the wrongfully convicted guys that we were profiling. One was a white guy from Virginia. He married an Australian woman too. So it was just like,
oh my God, it's so funny because when I go to death row, I ask the inmates this too. I go, is everyone foreign? And he goes, I swear, Laura, one of my guys said to me, he goes, if I threw a pebble outside my cell, I would hit 3 guys who are married to a German woman. And a lot of them from Australia. I've seen a lot of Swiss. I swear. And I'm like, I've said to them, I go, can you guys, like, I swear with serial killers, I'm like, you guys stop with the foreign women. So
yeah.
I can't deal with this. They do. They like, I swear Rob and I have joked about this so many times that they import them in, the foreign women. And I've actually talked to them and I've said,
what do you think's going on with them for them to?
Well, here's the 2 aspects of it. I guess over in Europe, they're very like ahead, or I don't know, progressive, I guess if you want to call it that.
Yeah, I know they're very progressive with their prison system stuff. So
right. So they're very anti-death row. But I don't understand why marrying a death row inmate would be like a proclamation against, you know, America having death row. I don't know. That's what I've heard.
Well, just the fact that these people have brutally murdered many people.
Yeah.
Most of them women. In fact, I think all of them.
The other thing I will say, I got to say, for the ones who are doing it like this, I'm going to say these women are, I would say, brilliant. They're coming over and they're marrying them because they don't have to have sex with them. They're locked in a cage and they get a green card.
Do they really?
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty brilliant.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
That would be another episode, a strange episode of 90 Day Fiance.
I know, right?
Yeah, because that's what they're doing. They're, you know,
Really?
I had no idea that they can get their green card that way.
Loophole to get to America. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
That's why there's so many. Every time I go to San Quentin, it's like all foreign women. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Do you think we could get a couple of them to come on the podcast and talk about this experience?
I'll just literally call up and I'll be like, how many guys in this cell block have foreign wives?
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure.
Okay, cool.
I'll get one for us somehow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got some homework. We want to find the investigators, the defense attorney for him,
Yes.
and let's see if we can get
Or-
someone.
Or women that they've imported.
Yeah, I had no idea that they could get their green card. That makes sense now.
That makes sense, right? Because then I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
So then they're just using.
Hmm.
Wow.
They say it's real love, though, but I don't know.
They have to.
Oh, right, they do, because they'll get it reversed.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Bizarre.
Mhm.
All right. Well, listen. Thanks for staying up so late, and let's dive into this. I mean,
There's a lot here.
I know you told me he was crazy and fascinating. So
A lot.
a
lot to unwrap.
Yes. All right. All right. Take care. Good night.
Bye, Rob.
Bye.